Hello and welcome to YQ Academy Tutorials. My name is Priyanka and topic for today's discussion is cloning of object in JavaScript. So I'm using Visual Studio Code for running the program and my file name is cloning.js. JavaScript object is collection of key value pair. When we are working with these objects, sometimes we want to modify the value or add new property to the object. Let's understand this with an example. Let me declare an object first. So I'm using const keyword and I'm taking object name as person. Now let's give a property over here, name, and I'm giving value of this property as max. I'm taking another property as age and I'm giving value to it 14. Now let's copy the value of this person object. Let's write if you see the output for new person object, let's log this first. Here let's write node and then the file name that is cloning.js. We can see the output as this. And now let's change the name to some another name. Now let's log this. Let's see the output. Okay, fine. But let me show you what happened with the original object's value. The original object is person. Let's see the output. Oh, why? How? Let me explain it to you. The original object is affected because objects are reference types. But this is not good while programming. As a programmer, we want to store an object's value in a new object. But at the same time, we also want to manipulate the values in new object without affecting the original object. There are three methods to do this. First one is spread method. Then we have object.assign method. And the third method we have is json.parse method. First, let me take spread method to clone an object. Let me clear the screen first. Now let me declare an object. So I'm using a const keyword and I'm taking object name as person. Let's give first property as name and the value over here as Dave. Another property as age. Value here as 60 suppose. Now let's clone the object with spread operator. So let me write keyword, then the new object name as new person. Then let's use the operator, three dots. Then let's write person. Now let's change the name to some another name as Emma. Now let's see the output. So for that, let me write console.log and then first the new person. Let's see the output. Here we can see the output as this. Now let's see the output for original object that is person. So for that, let me write console.log and then the original object's name that is person. Now let's see the output. So here we can see the output as Dave and age is 60. So here the original values did not change. Now let's do it with object.assign method. So I'm using the previous object that is person with same properties that is name and age. Now let's clone the object using object.assign method. So for that, let me use the keyword let and then I'm taking new object name as new person. Now let's try to change the value of new person object. So for that, let's change the name Dave to Oliver. We can change another property as well that is age. Let's write the new age as 54. Now let's see the output. So here we can see the output as Oliver, name as Oliver and age as 54 for this new object. Now let's see for the original object value if it is affected or not. So for that let me write and then the original object name, that is person. Now let's see the output. So we can see the output as Dave and 60, which was written in original object in person. Now let's do this with JSON.parse method. We use this JSON.parse method with JSON.stringify. Let me show you how. So I'm again using the same object person. Now let's clone the object with JSON.parse method. Let me write the keyword, then the new object name. So I'm new object name I'm taking as new person, and here let me write. So I use this JSON.parse with JSON.stringify. Here let's give the object name which I need to copy. Now let's try to change the value of original object. So I'm changing age to 15. Now let's see the output. So here age, the value of this property gets changed. Now let's see for the original object value if it is affected or not. So let me write. So here we can see the original value is not affected. Spread method and object.assign method are to make a shallow copy of an object, whereas json.parse method is used for deep cloning. Now let's have a look on shallow and deep clone. Where an object has more than one level, then we need to perform deep clone. But first, let's see a shallow object. So, this is an example of shallow object. Now let's see an example for deep object. A deep object has more than one level. I'll show it to you with an example. So this is an example of deep object. It has more than one level. So this is shallow object and this is deep object. Now let's try to clone this deep object using spread method and object.assign method. So first let me delete this. Oh sorry, let me correct it. Since it is in strings, so I need to store it in quotes. Now let's clone this deep object using spread method. So for that, let me write the new object name. So I'm taking new object name as new person. Now let me use the operator, spread operator, that is three dots. Then let me write the object name, that is person one. Now let's try to change the value. Here let's change the city to Beijing. Now let me log this. Let's see the output. So here we can see the output as we stored. Now let's see the original value, whether it is affected or not. So here the original value is also affected. The original object also affected because the deeper object will be referenced. This will happen with object.assign method as well, that you try by yourself. But how to fix it? So to fix it, we can use json.parse. So let me show you how. Let me delete this. Let me show you the output of this person one. Okay. Now let me use JSON.parse method to clone this deep object. Let me write the object name. Now let's change the value. Let's change the value to pitching. Let's log this and let's see the output for original object as well. Person one. So here, this is the clone object in which I change the value, and this is the original object which not get affected. So this is all about cloning of object in JavaScript. Thank you for watching.